Triple EDC here, back again with another knife video. This is the Knife Noob series, episode 4. I am going to talk today about the secondary market and knife trading. And so I do want to apologize for the light. I'm in my kitchen at about 2 a.m. It is a little bit dark in here, and I'm having to use the light from the cell phone camera. So I apologize for the lighting. But let's talk a little bit about trading in the secondary market. So generally, you're going to have lots of knives. Some are great values, some are not good values. Some are priced exactly where they should be, and the secondary market can force some of those prices a little bit. So a good example of that is some Benchmade knives. Now, Benchmade for a while, you hear Nick Shabazz talk about the butterfly tax. You're paying for the butterfly tax. And what he means by that is, you know, the butterfly on your Benchmade. So this is a 940. This is Smoky Mountain Knife Works. You're paying for that brand name, like Gucci or any other brand name, as opposed to the actual quality of the knife. That's what he means by butterfly tax. That's not to say Benchmades are bad quality. Actually, many of them are excellent quality. This is an example of an excellent quality knife. It's got the red infused carbon fiber and DLC coating, M390, nice axis lock. I mean, this is a fantastic knife. Benchmade does make fantastic knives. Many of them anyway. But a lot of times you're paying $140 for a knife that really should sell for about $100, or you're paying, you know, $180 for a knife that really should sell for about $160. So, you know, you're paying that butterfly tax. So the idea of secondary market is to avoid paying not just the butterfly tax, but any taxes for any of the brands that, you know, are that show a markup or that don't retain their value. So Spydercos, for example, many of them retain their value. And so if you're looking to invest in the secondary market, it can be a good place to get hard-to-get knives, but you're usually going to pay over the list price. A good example of that would be the Manix, DLT exclusive Manix 2. And so this went for about, I don't remember the exact price, but it's around $140. And if you want to find one on the secondary market now, they're going to be about $200. This is another one, the St. Nick's exclusive Shaman. These sold, I think, for $208 or something like that when they dropped, and immediately they started selling for $325 or so. So these types of knives end up going for more, you know, on the secondary market. But once they're sold out, the secondary market's the only place to get them. So if you really want them, you'll pay for them. But the secondary market is also a good place to save on stuff. People who buy knives that are too big for them. The Benchmade Contigo. Not only is there a butterfly tax, but a lot of times people don't realize how much jimping there is. They don't like the jimping. They don't realize how big it is. And it is big, because if you're used to a 940, for example, it's much bigger. So a lot of times you can find a $200 Contigo on sale for, in the secondary market, maybe for $140, in excellent condition, almost brand new. Now, do those deals come along every day? Not really, but if you keep your eyes open, you can find them for $120, $140 in like new or so condition. Another similar one is the Benchmade Adamas, because the Adamas is a huge knife, and a lot of people get into it thinking I'm gonna, you know, I really want a huge knife, and they find out it's hard to carry. And they don't want it, they want to get out of it, and there's an oversupply of them because, you know, a lot of people in the military use them. So what ends up happening is, you know, they end up going for, you know, they sell for about $200 or $240 if it's an automatic version, and they end up selling for between $120 and, you know, $145 or $160 on the secondary market. And so you can get them for really good prices. So that's just a couple of examples. Another example was the Benchmade Bailout, when that, although the Bugout tends to retain its value because it's so popular for the most part, the Bailout, you know, they had that controversy over the Rockwell hardness. And so a lot of people, after buying them, immediately wanted to sell them. And there was an overabundance. And you could get them for anywhere from $95 to $100, and they're $140 new. and you can get them in new condition. So the secondary market is a great way to buy knives, so you can buy a lot more of them, and you can take advantage of some of those things. Also, discontinued knives. This was discontinued many years ago. I mean, it's so old that it still says Balisong on it, where the Benchmade symbol was. Benchmade used to go, started as a Balisong company, and so this is a Benchmade AFCK. This is very old. Benchmade hasn't used ATS-34 steel in years. So, again, secondary market is a good place to get a knife like the AFCK if that's something that you're after. ProTech is another brand that you can find good deals on. ProTech and Heretic, actually. For whatever reason, the Heretic Martyr doesn't resell very well. The Heretic, really the Martyr has a bigger margin of loss. Some of the ProTechs, the Godfather, the Godson seems to do okay, but the Godfather ends up having, some resale problems sometimes. Well, I shouldn't say resale problems. Problems reselling at the price you paid for them. These are, I think they're about $280 new, something like that. So, you're going to get maybe $200, $220 on the secondary market for it. And again, if you want these deals, you have to be patient. Now, some of the places you might go to get them, so there's blade forums. People post knives for sale on blade forums all the time. Become a member of blade forums if you're going to do it. It's a minimal fee, and you can post. You can't really post if you're not a member. Well, you can post. I shouldn't say that. You can post, but you can't avail yourself of all the benefits. And if you're going to really buy and sell knives on there, you should be a member. So that's number one. Number two is Facebook. Facebook has many knife groups. There's knife trading sales and feedback, knife traders. There's some EDC groups. There's a whole bunch of groups. Just search the word knives or things like that. There's also a Microtech group, a Heretic group. There's a Chavez group, as I've said in another video. So, and there's Spyderco groups, of course. So join these groups. Your feed will be filled up with knives, your news feed, but eventually you're going to see stuff that's going to catch your eye. There's a lot of these groups have weekly buy-sell trade posts, and you go on them and there's one post with a thread of a whole bunch of people trying to get rid of their knives. Watch from week to week. If you see one that catches your eye, a lot of times somebody will be selling it for a month straight or 2 months straight, and that's when you have negotiating power. And so don't just, because someone posts a knife for a price, don't just accept it. PM, meaning private message them, let them know you want to negotiate. So that's number one. As far as some etiquette for when you're trading or selling on the secondary market, guys, you got to do PayPal. I recommend doing goods and services. I do not like doing friends and family unless somebody is like one of the most established people on the group that you're trading from. I mean, they have to be one of the most established people for me to feel comfortable sending friends and family. Otherwise, I send goods and services. I'll pay the fee, even if they want to pass the fee on to me. It's worth it. It's a little bit of insurance. PayPal does have some problems with knives, so goods and services isn't, the end-all be-all, but it's a better option than sending friends and family where you're going to have no recourse whatsoever. So that's one of the things there. The other thing is trading. Okay, so trading, there's always a problem with trust in trading. So always, always, always get vouchers. You have to build a reputation. And it's okay if you don't have a reputation. It's that old adage where, I need a job, but all the jobs require experience. I don't have experience. How do I get experience? I can't get a job, right? So it's the same thing here. Just like you might have to be willing to take a few lumps in order to get into the job market, you have to be willing to take a few lumps to get into the knife trading market. And what those lumps are is really not a big deal. It's just having a little patience. What you do, the etiquette, would be if you have no vouchers and the other person is well-established, and I recommend trading with well-established people first so that you can build a rep. But if the other person is well-established and you don't have a rep, you don't have vouchers, what you do is you say, listen, I will send first. Okay, I will send first. You're established. I trust you. I will send first. Once you receive it, send me yours on your end. And you do a couple of trades like that, and all of a sudden you've got some of the biggest people on the group vouching for you, and you're golden. Okay, so again, trading really isn't such a big deal once you take that into account. So a couple other things with etiquette is when you make a post, I mean, don't just post a picture of the knife that you're selling or trading, you know, and expect people to know what it is. I mean, a lot of things are recognizable. The Shaman is recognizable to a lot of people, but not everyone's going to know what it is. The AFCK is not recognizable at all. If I posted a picture of this, maybe some diehard Benchmade fans or some older people might know who were around when this knife was first released. You know, might know what it is, but I mean, most people are gonna be like, what the hell is that? It says Benchmade or has a butterfly, but I don't really know what it is. Is it a fake? People won't know, you know, because people will look at it and say, I don't recognize it. So what you got to do is you got to put the name of it, you know, with the picture. Don't just have one picture. Have several pictures, you know, show the blade, show the handle, show the other side of the handle, show the other side of the blade, show the centering of the knife, you know, show the back, if there's a back spacer, okay? And then what's always good is do a nice action video at the end. So you do a couple photos, do a video at the end showing the action, and don't do this, guys. Don't do that, throwing the blade back in. That doesn't show action. People want to know. They want to see a free dropper. Even if your knife does not have the best action, don't try to fake it. You're going to ruin your rep. You know, it's better to take a loss of $5 or $10 because the action sucks on the knife than, or to lose a sale here and there than it is to ruin a rep. So just something to keep in mind. But once you post, you know, the pictures and everything, don't use numbers, don't use dollar signs, use the little emoji symbols that substitute for numbers, because once you do numbers or dollar signs, Facebook or some of these other services will mark it as a sales post. They'll think you're selling weapons, and they will take your post down, and also ding the administrators of the group for, you know, if too many of those sales take place. So again, just be aware that happens. And the etiquette is, if you're not sure, post a picture of the knife, you know, as the picture, and just say see comments, you know, for details, or details in the comments, and that's a good way to go about it. The etiquette essentially is, look, if you advertise a knife and then you price drop it, and someone, you know, offers you the amount you price dropped it to, and then someone else later comes and offers you full price. I mean, guys, use common sense. You know, don't try to screw over a potential buyer who basically got there first because somebody else came along with more money. You know, priority matters, reputation matters in these things, and so, you know, as long as they have money and they're going to get it to you in a timely amount of time, you know, or they have enough of a rep where you know they're going to pay, then deal with them. If they say they have the money, but then they, you know, they're wishy-washy on coming up with it, let them know they need to pay, or else you're going to have to move on. If they can't pay, then move on. So just a couple of the etiquette rules for knife trading and knife buying on the secondary market. Another thing is the market goes in waves, guys. So we're in the middle of a wave where it is a buyer's market. People are having a lot of trouble selling knives. So if you need a knife right now, and this is October 3rd, 2019, you need a knife right now, you can haggle and you can get a great deal. And if you can't get a great deal on one, go to somebody else, maybe get a different knife on your list that you've been after for a while, and haggle with them there. I mean, you are going to get amazing deals right now. When it's a seller's market, and sometimes it's a seller's market, you know, then you just have to ask yourself, how much are you willing to pay, and how quickly do you need to strike, okay? So those are some of the things to keep in mind. If you guys have any questions or comments, definitely drop a comment down in the comments section. If this video was helpful, or even if it's not, I'd appreciate it if you like the video. I'm trying to grow the channel. And please subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you get more content like this, more advice for people coming in and who are new to the knife hobby. Thanks so much for watching.